Mini episode 1280 of the FDH Lounge is brought to you by Sportsology, delivering unconventional columns and webcasts about sports, TV, music, movies, and more. Follow them on the web at sportsology.com.
The FDH Lounge. You'll want to schedule your life around it.
A long time ago, on a gloomy, wet Cleveland spring night, two men stand alone amidst the late-night drizzle. Their voices echo across the vacant station parking lot as they debate the merits of the great American radio show that have been missing for far too long. On that night, an idea was born. That idea became the FDH Lounge. Welcome to the FDH Lounge.
Hello and welcome to FDH Lounge Mini Episode 1280. I'm FDH Managing Partner Rick Morris here with our Season 4 preview of Fargo. Here's our top 5 notes of interest heading into an edition of this anthology unlike any other. Number 5, fire up the Wayback Machine further than ever before. The Fargo movie was set in 1987, Season 1 was in 2006, Season 2 in 1979, Season 3 in 2010 and 2011, and this one's way back in 1950, and it's set in Kansas City, taking it out of the Dakotas/Minnesota for the first time, although there's a homicidal nurse who's a transplant from Minnesota, so there's that. It kind of makes you wonder how they're going to find the tie-in to either one of the other seasons or the movie, which is a constant in this universe. The most probable hint is that there's a character named Rabbi Milligan, which of course hints at a tie-in to Season 2's Mike Milligan from, you guessed it, the Kansas City Mob, except this Milligan's a white guy, so maybe that's not it. Number 4, it's got a wide and broad canvas and eschews the usual formula of a compelling criminal going head-to-head with a Gary Cooper-type law enforcement agent, although there are law enforcement agents on the canvas. Instead, it focuses on a mob war, with an Italian crew called the Fata family going up against the black crew, the Cannon Limited, led by Loy Cannon, the ostensible lead character of this season, played by Chris Rock in one of his rare dramatic turns. At the outset of Episode 1, a most unusual arrangement is in place. Mirroring efforts to settle earlier mob wars, both sides have swapped children to be raised by their enemies. Of course, that development just raises the stakes when the piece gets blown apart. Number 3, following in the path of Season 2 and Season 3, there is an overarching theme. Season 2 had the feel of a 70s hangover, while Season 3 seemed fascinated with digital footprints at a time when social media was still in the initial explosion phase. Season 4, in the pre-civil rights era, focuses on race in America, which takes on a heavier than usual tone for this franchise. And while it's just a coincidence, this is one of the timeliest convergences between a show's focus and the headlines of a nation in quite some time. Number 2, reviews aren't generally glowing. Now, we don't put a ton of stock in the reviews of others, so we're not alarmed, and many of them cite the high standard of the Fargo universe as a reason for their disappointment, so you shouldn't necessarily assume that you won't enjoy this just because the raves are few and far between. Frankly, as we've said before, Fargo Season 2 may be the greatest anthology of all time, so a series like this is bound to suffer from unfair comparisons. Number 1. The adventurous spirit of the franchise lives on. With any incarnation of Fargo, you don't exactly know what to expect going in, but you know that you're going to have colorful characters with colorful dialogue and colorful names who have colorful interests, some of whom will burst into colorful disputes. All of that lies ahead for this season, in a time and place wildly different than anything tackled in any previous edition of the franchise. Given that Mike Milligan ends up as a black hitman for the unified KC mob in Season 2 set in '79, the guess is that this season serves as something of a backstory for how that mafia group came together and emerged as such a dominant force in the entirety of the Midwest within those 29 years. But that's half the fun of Fargo when you go in, guessing at how all of the pieces fit together. Thus far, with the movie and the 3 seasons, they're 4 for 4, and it would be foolish to bet against them now. Thank you for joining us for this mini episode of the FDH Lounge.